Well, hey, first grade, it's me, Mrs. Arbini. And I know it's Wednesday, but we are not going to have a Word Work Wednesday today. Oh, I know. I bet you're all groaning and crying right now. It's okay. It's going to be all right. We'll do one next week. But we are going to do a phonics lesson since we're not together on Friday. But I had to ask you, did you enjoy that first video we did? Did you enjoy? I chose that because you know how much I love Mrs. Hutchinson. She's a good friend of mine, and she loves Jack Hartman videos with her whole heart. So I wanted to make sure that I worked that in for her. So that's with love to you, Mrs. Hutchinson. All right, so guys, we've been talking a lot about bloopers, right? Things that happen that we kind of laugh at, but things that happen over and over again that we kind of have to fix. And so I was thinking about just kind of my own life and what that looks like. And, back when we had birthday parties, back in the day, I was notorious, meaning I was known for bringing really loud, obnoxious toys to my cousins and to my friends' kids. This was before I had children and realized that that was mean. I would bring them all these really cool toys that made all these great noises and would annoy their parents to no end because I thought it was funny. But you know what I would inevitably forget? Batteries. So these toys make these amazing noises, right? And they would drive their parents crazy. But I would always forget the batteries. That was a constant blooper for me. And so I had to come up with a way to remind myself that, hey, when you buy a toy that makes noise, you've got to have batteries. Now as a mom, I'm like, oh, we ran out of batteries? Well, once they run out, we can't put them back in. Pretty funny blooper, right? So today, as we're talking about these R-controlled vowels, we realize that we make a lot of bloopers with them. A lot of things that aren't spelled correctly, that don't look right. And so what we're going to look at today, so we're first going to play a little game called blooper or not a blooper. And so you're just going to shout out the answer for me. When I show you a word, I want you to tell me, yes, it's a blooper, or no, it's not a blooper. But guys, here's the thing with R-controlled vowels. There is really no trick to knowing what vowel is in front of that R, in front of that controlling R. I wish I could give you a list of tips and tricks and tools, but there aren't any. The one thing I can tell you is that the more you read, the more you write, the better you get at looking at a word and saying, that doesn't look right. And so that is what you're going to rely on, is just knowing that you read and you write all the time. And as first graders, you're starting to really learn what looks right and what doesn't look right. And so even though you can't always guess the vowel, you can tell for sure if something looks right or sounds right. So I'm going to pull up some of these cards for you. And you're going to shout blooper, meaning, yeah, that's a mistake. Or not a blooper, meaning, yes, that word looks right. You guys ready for the first one? This is girl. What do you think? Blooper or not a blooper? Blooper. That just doesn't look right. Girl. It sounds right. It sounds exactly how you would write girl. But it just doesn't look right. That's a blooper. How about this one? This is another way to spell girl. Yep, not a blooper. Even though we can't hear that I, and it doesn't sound any different than a U to us, this just looks right. Girl. All right, here's the next one. Turtle. Blooper or not a blooper? And I'm only moving it to the left so that this line isn't blocking it. Not a blooper. Turtle is spelled correctly. That looks right, doesn't it? We really have to rely sometimes on how things look. Here's the next one. It's another spelling for turtle. What do you think? It doesn't look right at all. It looks like tiretle or tiretly. Doesn't look right. It is definitely a blooper. Okay? Let's take a look at the next one. This word should make you laugh. Burp. What do you think? Don't burp. Like, don't do it. You're going to make your teachers mad. Don't do it. It was just a word. What do you think? Blooper or not a blooper? That's not a blooper. That's exactly how burp is spelled. Take a look at this one. Burp with an E. Burp. Sounds exactly the same, doesn't it? There's really no difference in how you read these words. Burp, burp. Doesn't sound different at all. But this does not quite look right. That's definitely a blooper. This does look right, which means it's not a blooper. And it also looks like I did it twice. All right, how about this one? Bird. Blooper or not a blooper? Definitely a blooper. That is not how bird looks. What about this one? Blooper or not a blooper? Not a blooper. That's spelled correctly. When you look at these two words, this is why this is so tricky. They both have these R-controlled vowels. You know, you've got that controlling R there. Here's a U and an I, and both times you just hear It makes it so tricky. And that's why we're having to really rely on paying attention to all of the books we're reading, because that's how you learn as a reader when things look right and when things don't look right. So we've got our list of bloopers and not bloopers. All right, so I have some writing today from one of my former students. And this is a story that has, well, quite a few bloopers. My friends at Avery, you're going to get a copy of this story as well, and I'm going to read it to you in just a second. My friends at home, you are going to get your whiteboard and your marker, and you're going to do the same work, just going to do it in a different format. So the only thing I need you to do right now, though, whether you're at home or you're at school, I just need you to listen. Can you do that for me? All right, a neighbor's story. One winter day, my hamster looked sick. I put her in my shirt and went to the school nurse. I said, "My pet is hurt. Look at the fur coming out." He was surprised. He said, "I want to help your pet feel better, but I help people. You need to take her to a vet." First of all, it's a really good narrative. It's a really good piece of writing. But there are a ton of R-controlled bloopers in this story. So if you're at school, I want you to take a highlighter or a marker or a crayon, whatever your teacher tells you. And I don't know if you're allowed to work with partners. If you are, this is a great partner activity. You can search through, and I want you to highlight or circle all the words that you're like, no, that doesn't look right. I want you to highlight or circle those. My friends at home, you kind of have a different job. Grab a whiteboard or a piece of paper, and I want you to copy down the words that you're like, I don't think that looks right. I do not need you to rewrite this whole thing at home, my friends. Just find the words. I'm going to just give you one, like winter, where you're like, Mrs. Arbini, no, that doesn't look right. Just write that on your list, and you can write it spelled incorrectly like it is here, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, whether you're at home or you're at Avery, and go ahead and do that work, but hold on to it because we're going to need it when we come back. Okay, so you're back. I hope that you were able to find all the bloopers that were hiding in this story. So what I have for you here is I have the story just kind of condensed and typed out instead of with handwriting. And I have the words highlighted. It might be kind of tricky to see, but I have the words highlighted that had bloopers. And I want to see if your bloopers match my bloopers. And as we're going through, and I'll give you some time when it's over, you can always pause it. I want you to write the correct spelling for these words. All right, are you ready? One winter day, my hamster looked sick. Thumb up if you chose winter and hamster as words that were bloopers. Good, in a little bit you're going to go back and fix those. I put her in my shirt and went to the school nurse. There were three. Her, shirt, and nurse. Did you get those? If you didn't, you might want to write them down. Remember, you can always pause. I said, my pet is hurt. There's another blooper word. Did you get hurt? If you didn't, you need to write it down or circle it. Look at the fur that is falling out. There's fur. He was surprised. Then we have another one, surprise. He said, I want to help your pet feel better, but I help people. There's the word better that was a blooper. You need to take her to a vet. So I want you to pause the video right now. And if you missed any that you need to go back and highlight or write down, go ahead and do that. But then I want you to go back, and I'm actually going to switch off of this screen. I want you to pause not on this screen. And I want you to go back and fix those words. See if they need an ER, an IR, or a UR. Then we're going to put those words into a chart so that we can kind of play with how each of those sounds and how they look. So go ahead and take a break, or not take a break, put it on pause. And I want you to go back and fix those words, fix those bloopers so they look right. All right, welcome back. So you should have these words fixed to the best of your ability. If you need to do any fixing as we go along, is that anything to stress about? Just fix it. Not a big deal. All right, so our first word is winter. So there are 3 different ways, or 3 different sounds that we hear for And we're going to sort these words into their appropriate category. So the first one is winter. It's got an ER at the end. So we're going to put that in the ER column. Now, if you put an IR at the end, it's still going to sound like winter. If you put a UR at the end, still going to sound like winter. But they're not going to look right. It has to look right. And so winter goes in the ER column. Remember, a lot of this is not about your ears. You know, when we talk about phonics and phonemic awareness, a lot of it is about how you hear things. But this particular skill, these R-controlled vowels, it's all about what you see. All right, the next one is the word hamster. Let me grab a sticky. I'm just kind of rotating through the colors here. Hamster. Where do you think that one's going to go? Shout it out to me. Yeah, it's going to go in the ER column. Good. Our next word was her. Well, you should know this. This is a snap word. So this one should be easy peasy. What column is that one going to go into? The ER column. Good. See what the next one is. Shirt. Shirt. Let's type that one up. Shirt. Good. All right, where does this one go? Yeah, in this word, we're going to have IR for that sound. Let's see the next one. Nurse. Nurse. Any ideas where that one's going to go while I tape it up? See if you can make a guess. Yep, nurse is going to go right here under UR. Good. All right, the next one is hurt. Any guesses before I type it up? Where is hurt going to go? Yep, the sound in this one is a UR. Good. The next one is fur. Where do you think that one's going to go? Also in UR? I think you're right. Fur. So tricky. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Surprise. Oh, I think that's such a hard word anyway, just to read and write. But that definitely has an R-controlled vowel that a lot of people forget when they write. It's the word surprise, and it's that UR. Sometimes people don't put the R in there at all. Surprised. Good, that's a major blooper word. The next one is better. Where do you think better is going to go? Better. Yeah, in the ER column. And I think we have one more left. Oh, it's her. We've already done that one. So I want you to take a moment to talk with a partner or with your teacher or just to think on your own. Is there anything that you notice about these ER, IR, and UR sounds for the sound? Okay, I hope that you said you noticed that they were in different spots. So this is not always going to be true. But if you're looking for, or if we're looking and seeing ER, or if you're hearing the sound at the end of a word, a lot of times, not all the time, a lot of times it's ER. And we will use IR and UR usually closer to the middle of words. Now that's not true in fur, so we have an outlier here with UR at the end, but typically we see ER at the end. All right, guys, I'm running out of time on my clock, so the only thing I have left to say to you is have a good afternoon, and I will see you on Monday.